Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers and this is Andy 245, and we're continuing our walk cycle with the Ultimate Walker. And we need to rotate the body. So we want to favor the rotational values will favor the prominent leg, which is out. So you can see that when we walk, okay, we have to kind of look at what really happens here when we're walking. We've got rotational values happening with the hips. Now, because we don't have an upper body, this is the hip, this is the body, but this is the hip, okay? These are the hips. So we're going to be making rotational values, okay? And we have to be careful with rotational values not to go too crazy with them because it lifts the leg up, all right? All right, so let's go back. And let's look at some of the things we can look at here. In the module 7, you can see that I've got these up here for a reason. So we're going to look at twisting first. Okay, so twist the hips a little, favoring the front leg. So when we are moving the leg forward, it is twisting around, okay? Now you can see the chest, upper body is the exact opposite. That is for balance. That's balancing us. So we're rotating the hips to the right, okay, favoring the lead foot. All right, so that means that when we go into our scene, that means that this leg that we have here is our prominent leg, okay? So we are favoring that leg by rotating this way, okay, as we walk, okay? Again, I've got to be careful. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go in here and rotate this one, favoring the right leg, okay? So it's rotate Y. And I'm going to go pretty extreme with it just to see what that looks like in our animation. So that would be 20 and enter. There we go. So there is that part. Okay. So we've got that rotational, right? And when we walk, okay, that rotational value goes back to center. Let's go back to this one. And then this rotational value will be 20 this way. Okay, so I'm going to type that in, 20. Now to be able to see this, I have to make sure. So, oh, is that the right way? So that one goes this way. Yep. And that one should be the opposite way. So it should be this way. There we go. So negative 20. So that's negative 20. There we go. It's hard to tell until you see, because the body has no way of knowing. See, there's no detail on the front of this to actually see it, so we're just rotating it. There we go. So negative 20. So I want to go to 6. Should be pretty leveled out. Yep. So that looks good. So rotational values that way. 20. And then back to negative 10, and then back here. Now this should be the same as 1, right? So I need to copy that rotational value. Okay. Let's just see if this will work. Control. Let's do copy. All right, and go to this paste. Okay, because it's got to be the same rotation, although otherwise it'll snap back. So that looks right. Yep. That's kind of evened out at frame 6. I'm just kind of moving forward with the blocking, and then rotational is actually opposite, negative 20 on that. And moving forward, it should basically level that out to 0. and it did, and then we move on to the next one. So you can see that's going back. Okay, so now we've got the swing, what's called the swing of the hips. Okay, that looks good. It's hard to tell again, but it is rotating, and that's what you need to do. So it's rotating slightly. You can kind of see it from the top view. If I go to the top view, you can see the rotation value way better. Okay? Right, good. Let's go back to your perspective. All right, I know that doesn't seem like it did anything because there's really nothing, there's no detail on the body to see that rotational value. Okay, so the next thing we need to think about is the twisting. We got the twist now, the tilting of the body. So this is when you're doing, when we're picking apart the mechanics of the walk cycle. So in the passing pose, we've got the hips rotating this way. Okay, so you can see the extreme right here. The chest and hips tilt opposite of each other. So when we do get into our character that has an upper body and the arms and everything, we're going to be looking for the tilt up here, but let's really concentrate on the tilt here. So we don't have any arms or anything, we're just working with the legs. So the tilt is when we are up, when we are in the crossover position, the passing position, the legs are tilting this way. So let's get that tilt in there. So let's go ahead and go back to this area here. And so the up position is what we're really looking at. Okay. So basically we're tilting this way. So we've got to kind of tilt it in that position. So at 1, it's straight, right? No tilting. At 6, let's go ahead and tilt it this way. Okay, like that. And we have to make adjustments. We have to make adjustments. So if we tilt it like that, then we've got to move it down as well, like that. Okay. So we're moving it up, tilting, and is that the right position? Let's take a look. Up and tilting down. So the leg straight, tilting down. All right, so let's take a look at that. Leg straight, tilting down. Okay, leg straight, tilting down. Right, because it's picking up that leg. Okay, leg straight, tilting down. Okay, so it's rotating up. And that's rotating down. Okay, rotating up and down. So that's going down, that's going up. Yep, that is correct. It looks like that's going up, up, down, up, down. Just double checking everything. So up, down. All right, so we're going to do the same exact opposite thing to the other side. So when that goes up, this leg is up, so that will rotate this way. Okay, and we need to then move that down because we've got that locked out. So we need to move that down so it doesn't lock out. So there we go. So now we've got, let's look at the front position here, see how that looks. Okay. All right, right, so I think we've got some nice keyframes here. So we're rotating. All right, so let's take a look at the animation now, what we have so far, see how that looks. Let's focus on that. That looks good. Got that nice rotational value now. Let's see if the rotational values can be pushed a little bit. So that's important too. So we got to push our scenes, just make sure everything looks good from the side view too as well, because that we kind of made some changes to that. So let's take a look at what that looks like, and we want to make sure nothing is hitting that they're still hitting the floor good. There's no. There we go. That looks good. Let's do the same thing with this one. Yep. Nothing's locking out. That looks good. Okay. Let's see what the differences are on this rotational value. So at 6, we've got a 9.784. And on this rotation, we've got quite a bit more rotation. So let's go ahead and add a little more rotation to this way. So this one is 12.6, and let's do this one at 12.6, 12. There we go, and we might want to move that down just a smidgen. There we go. So now we've got the same rotation. Here we go. So let's take a look at it. When we play it in real time. All right, so excuse me. Okay, we kind of lost our up and down, didn't we? So that's important. Let's kind of re-look at that, the up and down positions. So when we are going up, okay, and down, and that needs to be more obvious, I think. Let's go to the side view again. So up, see what we can do with that. Can't go much farther than that, to be honest. Okay. Okay, so the down position is going to have to be farther down. To make it more obvious. So up. See how far we can go, push that. It's hard to push it when we rotate that much. That's about as far as we can go there, and then down position. All right, so we need to copy that and paste that over to 1. There we go, so we don't have any glitching. So those two need to be exactly the same. Got a little bit of a glitch with those feet, right? Between 1 and 24. So I've got to get those exactly the same. This and this. So I'm going to copy those. Oh, wait a minute. We need to get back down to 0. All right, so that's what the problem was. Okay. So let's go back and forth between 24. So I'm going to have to go back to 1 and select everything. And I want to get rid of that. Delete. That's bad. So I'm going to go back here and make sure those two frames are the same, 24 and 1, and they're not. So let me go back to 24, and I'm going to copy. Actually, let's see which one's higher. Yeah, this one's higher. So I'm going to go from frame 0, copy that, and then paste here on this one just to make sure they're the same. So I made some mistakes here. So I'm going to fix them. All right, so 24. I'm going between the step back one key to make sure that I don't see any issues between the two. There we go. So now we're good. Okay, so that which should be down farther. So I think I need to push that down. Bring that down a little bit farther. Okay, so we can see the up. That's important, so we can see the up. So I'm going to copy that and paste that over to, there we go. So those two are the same. So I'm going back and forth. There we go. So that looks good. So go ahead and play it. Okay, so that looks better, I think. So we're going up and down. You can see that up, up, down. And we could probably even go farther with that, pushing it farther. So that'd be down on that. So down on that, down on that, up on that, up on that. Okay, so let's play it. I'm going to put my finger here and see if we can see the difference. Now, you can't see me put my finger over that. I'm going to put a cube up. Let me create a cube. This is, to me, it looks like it's not, it is going up and down, but not maybe as much as I want to. But maybe that's enough. Okay. All right, so there we go. So I've got it, I've got that pulled back to 0 so I can see all the keyframes now. All right. Just kind of finessing this up, smoothing this out a little bit more. And I see it going up. Okay, so up, up, there we go. That is right. Down, up on 18, and then down again. All right, I think we're good. Now with this one, I want to now add squash and stretch. So we've got the, let's go to the perspective. So we got the rotational values on that. Looks good. Okay, rotational values are in on both rotation and tilting. Okay, now we're going to add some squash and stretch. Okay. All right, so squash and stretch is going to come from the top. So, okay, so obviously when we're down, we kind of have to get it working here. So we're off of up. So if I look at this and I go down, you can see the squash will be between downwards, probably 3 frames. Let's give that a shot. So this will squash down. I'm just guessing. All right. So squashing it down, and then it rebounds because of this. So we're squashing down, and this is going to rebound 3 frames. So it squashes down in 3 frames. Okay, 3 frame squash. 1, 2, 3. So it's kind of an offset. 1, 2, 3, up. Okay, so it's an offset. It's pretty wild. So squash. So we hit the ground, right? So squash is down, and then we're kind of elongating now because we've already hit our apex here, and now it's gonna take 3 frames to go 1, 2, 3 to go up. Okay, so we'll continue doing that. So let's go look at our next keyframe. So we've got 6, 12. Okay, so we've hit the ground again, 12, and we'll be 1, 2, 3, and that will be squashed down again. Okay, so you see how that works. The squash. And we stretch it, and then squash. Okay, and then we stretch again. So let's go back in here in 18. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and we want to go up. Okay, there we go. Squash, squash, squash. That looks good. So we're going up. We hit the ground. Okay, let's get back into here so we can see. So now we hit the ground, squash, and stretch, squash, and stretch, squash. Let's see how that looks. And see if we went too far. All right, so let's go in there and this is a little squishy. So probably not that much. All right. There we go. Got a little fat little belly on him there. There we go. There we go. Okay. So maybe too much with the squash and stretch. So what we can do, just probably not go so far. Let's go to maybe 20. Try that. There we go. And then with 9, 25, let's go back to 20. Let's not go so much. Okay, whoops. 20. And go to 15. And just type in 0 on that. And then 21. And not go as far there as well. So I'm just kind of, okay, 2.22. Okay, so we might even want to pull that back to maybe 0.15. So it's negative on that, positive on that, negative on that, positive on that. So let's go ahead and go as far as saying that is 0.15. Okay, keyframe that. And then keyframe this at 0.15. Okay, on this one, frame 15, we're going to go 0.15. And then frame 21, we're at 0.15 with squash and stretch. All right, so let's look at these again. Frame 3, 0.15, negative 0.15. Frame 9, 0.15, 15, negative 0.15. And 21 at 0.15. And of course, we're at 0. Okay, so I'm going to click on our 6. Okay, 12, 18, and 24. Okay, those should be pretty squared out. Those are our basic, our keyframes, key poses here. So 6 at 0, 0 at 0. So we don't see any squash and stretch at that point. These are our basic core keyframes. Okay, let's take a look at it now. Let's go ahead and play the animation. That looks pretty good. All right, one other thing, squash and stretch adds a lot of weight. Okay, so from the side view you can see that, and if you think that's too much, I think that's pretty good. It's a little bit much. Maybe we could try 0.1 and see what that looks like, and then we can go back again. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to see the keyframes at, let's just try, just for fun, just take that to 0. And we'll go to frame 9, and we're just changing that 5 to a 0. Okay, so we're going to keep everything to 0.1. Let's just see if that gives us what we want, or we continue with the 0.15. So I'm going to do that. So now we're going to go ahead and play that. It's subtle, but it works. Let's see what that looks like in perspective. Yeah, I think subtle is better. I think that looks a lot better. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so what are the things we need to do to make this look more like it's got some, it's, you know, it's not going to be a totally realistic, but it's good to show that squish and stretch. That's really good. I think that's working really well. There we go. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the follow through, overlap and follow through on the foot, the toe of the foot, and we'll work on that in our last video. And I'll see you then.